Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, NXT New Year's Evil. Well, the real question is, will we have new champions? Because, of course, the NXT Women's title and the NXT Championship are on the line. But we also have a number one contendership for the NXT North American Women's North American title. So we'll see who will walk out. And also, in an added bonus, the great one, The Rock makes his NXT debut appearance. Now, this is a very different atmospheres, but we will see how things will go. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing two back-to-back events from Pro Wrestling Noah. The first one is, of course, that took place at New Year's Day, New Year's 20 the New Year 2025, featuring all matches taking place, including Shinsuke Nakamura making his second appearance again. This time taking on Oka Sasaki, so that's going to be a very fun match as well. And then, of course, we have the New Year Reboot taking place in Shinjuku Face on January 2nd. This one features, of course, the GHC um, National Championship on the line and various other matches as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. I believe it's time to take the highway. So, let's begin with our very first one, and this is, of course, the New Year by Pro Wrestling Noah. Okay, Pro Wrestling Noah, the New Year 2025. This took place, of course, on the 1st of January, and this one had a lot of good events. Now, let's begin with the pre-show that they took place. There was a battle royal, so we had many wrestlers taking place on this one. I mean, we had like the ones who were not completely involved in this match, in the main card, but I can tell you that the winner is none other than the Rattler's very own Tadasuke, so he picked up the win. I'm not sure exactly what he won, but I did hear that he got an opportunity for the GHC National Championship, and that would take place at the New Year Reboot. So we'll get to that at some point later on this episode. Now, our first match, we had a three-way for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We have the members of All Rebellion, consisting of Alejandro and Kai Fujimura, versus Junta Miyawaki and Amasuke, versus the champions, the Rattlers, consistent of Yohei and Hayata. Now, of course, when it comes to three ways, anything could happen. It's unpredictable. Now, technically, the champions don't need to be pinned. That is something we are commonly aware of when it comes to these type of matches. But unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, the Rattlers retaining the belt, thanks to Hayata when he applied the 403 on Alejandro, and just like that, they retained the belts. Our next match, we have a bit of a 8-man tag match. We have Tetsuya Endo, um, Black Mensuri, Shuji Ishikawa, and Kazuyuki Fujita taking on the guys from Team Noah, consisting of Go Shiozaki, Hajime Ohara, Mohamed Yone, and Atsushi Kotoge. Of course, in 8-man tag, anything could happen as well. I mean, we did see certain moments when it comes to this. Now, remember, Tetsuya Endo is in fact from DDT. He's now making his official appearances in Noah. So basically, he's going to take an indefinite hiatus from DDT, but he wanted to learn from the teachings from Jun Akiyama, who he has looked up to. And of course, Jun Akiyama is no stranger being with Noah before, but it would make sense. But however, it was Go Shiozaki who picked up the win when he applied the Go Lariat onto Black Mensuri, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, while the celebration happened, there was supposed to be a match taking place between Daiki um, Odashima taking on Kazuyuki Fujita. Now, all he had to do was last a minute. So some of you think, oh, there's no way this guy is gonna last a minute with Fujita. I mean, I thought so too, but he was able to last a minute after the bell ring. It was a time limit draw after 1 minute. So you could say, you got to be kidding me. Yep, that's what it was. Now, this is a very special match, brother versus brother. Galeno de Mal taking on his big brother, Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. So, yes, folks, this is a very emotional match. Now, there has been reports about Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., who's going to be leaving Noah, graduate from the company, and of course, elevate himself even further. Of course, there's been talks about the possibilities of him going to WWE. That is still undetermined. But seeing him taking on his little brother, that is something different and special because, of course, their mom, Rosie Romero, who at one time was married to Dr. Wagner Jr., was there watching. She decided to be there in person to see her sons wrestle. And of course, it's not easy to who she's going to root, but deep down, you can tell that she's proud of her boys, becoming wrestlers following their dad's footsteps and their grandfather footsteps as well. So that kind of out. But however, I think Galeno Naman is one of those guys we definitely could see. He could, of course, surpass Big Brother when he applied the Galeno special, which is this move that he's been using ever since I've been watching him in GLEAT. He pulled it off, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have Kenta versus Keno. Now, some of you who are New Japan fans are probably questioning, really? Kenta? Why would he go to Noah? Now, let me explain a little bit of the background about Kenta that many of you don't know. So, those who know this, Kenta was in fact started out as a young boy in All Japan Pro Wrestling along with the genius of the Arc, Naomichi Marufuji. Those two are in fact good friends and of course teammates and rivals back in the day. And when of course Giant Baba decided to disregard the junior heavyweight, they went with of course Misawa to Noah, and those two, Kenta and Fujimura, hold on, not Michimari Fuji, they in fact elevated the junior heavyweight. And Kenta was in there for years until he was signed with WWE. Now, when he left WWE, everybody speculated that he was going to go back with Noah. Well, that wasn't the case. We all know where he ended up. He ended up going with New Japan, signing with Shibata, then turning his back on him, then signing with the Bullet Club as well. So that's how the whole thing. But Keno, who knows Kenta pretty well, it's like telling him, hey, come back home, man. This is where you belong. That sort of thing. So Kenta was a bit more miffed about it, but he gave in. You can tell this was going to be a good match because these guys have striking capabilities. And of course, towards the end, it was Kenta who walked away with the win when he applied the go to sleep, the GTS, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, this is for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls. We have Eita versus Daga. Now, these two men know each other too well during their time in Dragging It. If you guys remember, Eita was the leader of the group known as RED, Real Efficient Deficits, or something like that. And Daga did a tour with them until he started going with Noah. Of course, Daga thought Nata thought he and Daga were close, that they had each other's backs, but Daga felt like, no, dude, this has always been about you, even when I was in Noah and Dragon Gate. So it's always been like that. But Eita has never given up the possibilities of him being that he wants to be the face of the junior heavyweight division in Noah, and that's always been his aim. But Daga was trying to say, no, pal, this is my kingdom. You're not taking it from me. And of course, that's what this match was about. However, Daga actually came up with the first fall, then Eita. But when it comes to the third fall, that's when it's crucial. But Eita walked away with the win, and just like that, he finally fulfilled his destiny and dream. He is now the GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion. So, just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, this is for the GHC National Championship. These two men are no strangers from each other. We have the challenger, Misa Kitamiya versus Manabu Soya. Now, some of you may question, those who are not familiarized, you would ask yourselves, why these guys are not strangers from each other? That's obvious. For those who've been watching Noah for a long time, you guys remember the faction that was once led by Keno called Congo, of course, which means diamond. As you all know, Kitamiya left because he had his issues towards Katsuyuki Nakajima back in the day, and he left, went on his own. And then when Keno disbanded Congo, everybody went their own ways. Manabu Soya, we all see him. He has grown significantly. He has proven that he is the kind of guy one day he will main event, and that's exactly what he tried to prove. And now he faces against his former teammate and one time a friend, and that's what this match was all about. But man, these guys really threw in a hell of a match. But towards the end, it was Manabu Soya with the jumping DDT, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And I'm sure Manabu Soya can sense his frustration because he's been there himself before. And of course, Manabu Soya gave him encouragement saying, do not give up, you'll get there. And of course, we'll see that with Kitamiya in the near future. Now, our next match, this is for the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Naomichi Marufuji and, of course, Takeshi Sugiura defend their belts against the members of Team 200X. Jack Morris had a mystery partner, and it turned out to be WWE's very own Omos. So you ask yourselves, oh my god, this is going to be good. Omos was the X factor of the match, though, in the fact that he is big, strong, and it's going to be impossible to put down. And that's exactly what he did, because he choke slammed Marufuji in order, just like that. 1, 2, 3. Brand new tag champions. And just like that, we're going to see it. Now for our semi-main event, we have Oka Sasaki, formerly of the UFC, taking on WWE's and the current United States champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. So this was going to be a good match. You know it, because Sasaki, we have seen what an incredible wrestler he is, and not to mention his expertise as a grappler has played out pretty well. But unfortunately, it was a Kinshasa by Nakamura onto Sasaki, and just like that, it was over. Now for a main event. This is for the GHC Heavyweight title. Ozawa versus Kaito Kiyomiya. Now, Those who know this, Ozawa last year joined All Rebellion until he got injured, and for some reason, he turned his back on them and sided with Team 200X, and this is where it leads to. They feel that guys like Ozawa felt deep down in his very soul that guys like him are being disrespected because they were the inexperienced team and they want respect. And that's what exactly what Team 200X are all about. It's all about you guys aren't going to show us respect, so we have to earn it our way. And that's exactly what happened. Now, of course, many people put their bets on Kaito Kiyomiya, but the one thing is we saw dirty tactics come in this match. Ozawa pulled in the ref, almost showed up, and then of course low blows and all this and that. But unfortunately, Ozawa walked away with the win when he applied the Phoenix Splash, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, brand new GHC heavyweight champion. And of course, he did a promo. I'm sure it's telling him that Noah is now run by Team 200 X, and we'll see how things will go from them. But right now, we'll end things here with this one with Pro Wrestling Noah on the New Year. So let's move on to New Year Reboot. Okay, we continue with more with Pro Wrestling Noah New Year Reboot. Now, this was a day after the New Year that took place on January 1st. Now we're in January 2nd at Shinjuku Face. So we do have one title match taking place. So let's talk about every match from start to finish. Our first match, we have the members of the Rattlers, consistent of Yuto Kikuchi, Hayata, and Yohei, taking on Junta Miyawaki, Amasuka, and of course the current and the brand new GHC um, junior heavyweight champion Eita. Now, of course, I forgot to mention, and I kind of missed this one. Hayata, as you all know, was a former junior heavyweight competitor. He is considered one of the best. Now that Eita is the winner, he issued the challenge. So you can say that this is a match of a prelim type preliminary matches that would lead on to that match that would take place in the future. But however, towards the end, it was Hayata who picked up the win with a submission, which was very impressive. But however, should this be a little Freita, knowing that he worked so hard to get where he needed to be to get that title? But only time will tell. Now, our next match, we have a bit of a tag team rumble match. We have many wrestlers, but the one thing that was striking is what happened in the match. I think I need to explain. Now, Michi Marufuji teamed up with the young boy named Yu Owada, and all of a sudden, Owada betrayed him. Nobody knows why, and then it just ended. However, this match ended with Motoaki Mochizuki and um, Takeshi Sugiura winning after eliminating, I forgot who it was, but it was a pretty good match, right? It was Titus Alexander and Okazaki who teamed up, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have Tetsuya Endo um, taking on Asushi Koroge. This was a pretty good match. I mean, we do know that, as I mentioned, Tetsuya Endo is now officially appearing in Noah. He's taking indefinite hiatus with DDT, still unclear. I wouldn't surprise me if somehow Endo decides to resign his position with DDT and jump ship with Noah. That's something I could definitely see down in the future. But he was very impressive as always, and he picked up a fantastic win against one of the top junior heavyweights in Noah, Kodoke, and he picked up the win when he applied the shooting star press, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But he did put out a promo. Don't know what he talked about, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have Saxon Huxley teaming up with the Wagner brothers, Galeno del Mal, and of course his big brother, Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. They take on the members of Team 200X, consistent of Jack Morris and Omos, and a mystery partner. And to our shocking and surprising, it was that piece of garbage, Yu Owada, who turned his back on now Marufuji. And now it appears he has joined, of course, Team 200X. And of course, they are now the most hated unit in, of course, Noah. But however, like the last result we saw, but one thing was impressive. Galeno Dema, he may be the younger brother of Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., but he is strong. He is not afraid of anybody, especially of a guy like Omos. But unfortunately, Galeno Dema did not pull through when he got choke slammed, a choke bombed by Omos, and 1, 2, 3, done like that. Our next match, this is for the GHC National Championship. Tadasuke issued the challenge, and he faces against the champion Manabu Soya. Now, it's no secret for those who know these two actually used to be in the same team. And it's ironically, as I mentioned before, much like Misa Kirimiya and Manabu Soya members of Congo, well, Tadasuke used to be one himself. But now a different scenario. Now, Tadasuke, he's a junior heavyweight competitor, but I think deep down he must have felt, I've already exceeded that whole thing. Maybe he wants to level up himself. But unfortunately, that didn't come into terms because Manabu Soya put him out with the lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the belt. However, it appears that Tetsuya Endo decides to make a play for the GHC National Championship, and that's going to be interesting. If he impresses people, I'm sure he probably will stay in Noah, because I would, like I said, it would not surprise me if he makes the decision to resign his position or graduate from DDT and move on with Noah. That's something I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have All Rebellion, Keito Kiyomiya and Kento taking on Team 200X, taking on Daga and Ozawa. Now, this is a bit of a revenge by All Rebellion, by the traitor Ozawa for what he caused. So, of course, you would think that Ozawa, he would definitely try to try to pull a fast one on Keito Kiyomiya for what he pulled up on him. But however, it was Keno who did it when he actually applied an inside cradle on Daga, and just like that, it was over. But however, Daga took it personally, and it was a beatdown. But out of nowhere, Kenta showed up and saved Keno. So looks like he's gonna be sticking around for quite a bit. So we'll see what happens down the road with Keno and Kenta. So that's something we will see down the road. So I think that's pretty much it with Noah. I believe it's time to move on with our next and final review, NXT New Year's Evil. Okay, NXT New Year's Evil. So, first show of NXT of 2025. So that's how it all begins. Now, the way this thing starts out, for the first time ever, The Rock, the Brahma Bull, the People's Champ, makes his appearance in NXT. He arrives, first time ever. Now, I think some of you may question, what is he doing there? Well, we'll get to that at some point. Now, for our first match of the day, of course, it features the NXT Women's title. Now, this was not the first time that Julia and Roxanne Perez clashed together. Last time, Cora Jade screwed Julia on this one, but this time, the question we ask ourselves, does lightning strikes twice? That's a very good question because we've seen exactly what's going to happen. But this time, of course, well, Cora Jade may have gotten away the last time by helping her BFF to retain the belt, but apparently it did not work because she helped Roxanne Perez get in the ring, and then Julia made it somehow just 1 second to spare, leaving Cora Jade in not happy with the whole result. But of course, the referee told her to take a hike. But it did not stop there, so it was like, bye-bye, Cora. And then later we did see, of course, Julia pick up the win when she first did some serious headbutts, and then the Northern Light Bomb. 1, 2, 3. New champ! Just like that. Basically, Julia has finally done it. So we'll see how the NXT division will go on with her. But speaking of championship match. As you all know, Eddie Thorpe, the lying, sniveling little weasel, tried to find ways to justify, to get an excuses to get the NXT title. Apparently, he was found again injured. However, Ava, who is strictly fair, wasn't buying this thing in a brand of Kool-Aid. So the match will still stand. Now, our next match features a number one contenders four-way match for the NXT women's North American title. We have Stephanie Vakir, Cora Jade, Kelani Jordan, and Lola Vice. Now, all these women have their reasons to be there. Kelani Jordan, who has defended the women's North American title proudly, now she wants to get back in the game on this one. Of course, Cora Jade tries to prove her point that this is a division for the mean girl and all this and that. But however, a lot of things took place on this one. But we did see later it was Stephanie Vakir who walked out the victory when she applied her infamous move with a Pacadra neck breaker. And just like that, she's the number one contender. So that means Fallon Henley needs to be more careful when she meets Stephanie Vakir because she is not the best in the world for nothing. Now, during an interview, Sarah talks to Ava for the what just transpired with Eddie Thorpe. However, she wasn't buying this crap about him getting hurt. However, Obafemi confessed that he did it. But Ava Rain decided it still stands. So we'll see where that leads. Now, we did see a six-woman tag match, Fatal Influence. Fallon Henley, JZ Jane, and Jasmine Nix taking on Tatum Paxley, Gigi Dolan, and Shotzi. So this was a pretty good match. I mean, it showed exactly Fatal Influence trying to prove their point that they are the ones that run the division themselves, and wrestlers who are not entirely wrestlers should be there. But however, it was Shotzi who actually picked up the win when she applied a senton onto Fallon Henley, and just like that, it was over. Now, this led into a big, huge implication. As you all know, I mentioned Stephanie Vakir won the number one contenders, but in a strict of fairness, Shotzi also claimed I pinned the champion herself. That means I get a shot. So, in technical terms, we may see, of course, Shotzi and Stephanie get a shot of the being number one contendership. Fallon Henley does not want to contend with both of them at the same time. So we'll see how that rolls as well. But we later did see Ava Reigns talk with Ethan Page about his recent attitude. But however, The Rock even showed up. And we all know in real life who The Rock is to Ava. It's her dad. But however, of course, The Rock is a bit nervous asking about the NXT fan base because this was the first time. So, of course, Ava gave her that these guys are diehard fans. And it's true. I mean, we've seen the NXT fan base, how they are, and, I'm one of them. So we'll see how that goes. Next match, Lexis King versus Charlie Dempsey. A pretty good match as we speak. I thought it was very interesting because I think the first time we did see, of course, Lexis King did got hurt, but he is getting better. He even trained for it with Charlie Dempsey, and I thought whatever he learned, he got better. But the last time William Regal got involved, screwing his own son and that sort of thing. But however, Lexis King overcome it by winning this match when he applied the coronation. So that's pretty much it what happened. Now for our next match, we have, of course, the NXT title, Trick Williams, Obafemi. Now we weren't too sure if Eddie Thorpe was going to show up. Well, he did show up eventually, but it did not do anybody any favors because, of course, Eddie Thorpe was looking for excuses to find ways to jump the ladder regarding of working his way through like Trick Williams. And then, of course, it was Obafemi who walked away with the pop-up powerbomb, and just like that, brand new NXT champion. So we have the NXT Women's Champion crown and NXT Champion crown. So that's how the night end. Well, the matches end, but the event does not end with the arrival of The Rock, greeting the fans, giving his purpose, that sort of thing. So I'm sure we'll see him more. And of course, we all know the people calling him the Rock, the final boss. So we'll see how things will go. So I think we are done with all our, of course, reviews, let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events. As you probably know, we have for more with Deadlock Pro Wrestling for You Already Know that takes place on the 17th of January. We have Ichiban teaming up with Diego Hill. They take on Miracle Generation, so that's going to be a fun match. And then, of course, Violence Forever was announced that they will be making their return to New Texas Pro Wrestling on the 23rd of this month. So that's going to be interesting as well. Don't know if it's a title match or just a straight up tag match. So we'll see how that goes. Now for our developments. Discovered a brand new promotion in Japan, folks. So in case anybody asked, this promotion has a very interesting, how do I say, acronym. It's called DIE, or in technical terms, die. But I like how this, how do I say, what it stands for in this way. It stands for Deathmatch Innovation Element. I like the name. Now, some of you may question what this promotion is about. It's all about death matches, of course. Only death match wrestlers are allowed to be in this one. Now, we've seen promotions like GCW, H2O, Freedoms, Big Japan Pro Wrestling. They have both the non death matches and the death matches, but this one all death matches, so it makes sense. So I haven't seen any events, but if I find anything on either on YouTube or somewhere on the internet, I'll let you guys know what I think of it. Now, many of you remember the legendary Hayabusa. He was part of that promotion, F FMW, which was part of the documentary in Dark Side of the Ring about Sushi Onita. Well, it appears a brand new Hayabusa will be making his appearance, this time from a new wrestler. It's still unclear who it is, and I'm sure that they're determining to keep the identity of that person hidden. Now, I don't know what was the main reason. I know that Will Ospreay, if you guys know, he's a big Hayabusa fan, and not to mention he did ask Hayabusa's daughter permission to wear a similar gear as Hayabusa in one of his matches that took place. I think was it last year or 2 years ago. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm sure maybe whoever signed to have the new Hayabusa to make their appearance must have gone through his daughter and asked permission. And it's a good thing to ask permission because we know that they don't want nothing to dishonor the memory of her father. And I think that's a good thing. So I'll find more details regarding about that as well. Now, as you probably know, Tokyo Sports have been giving out awards starting from last year and, starting this year and from about last year. Suri has been given the MVP award for Tokyo Sports, but also we have a two-way tie in the topic award between legendary Bull Nakano and, of course, our current IWGP Women's Champion Mayu Iwatani. So practically that's what's taking place. So I think that's pretty much all we have right now for our news updates. But until then, for now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Dynamite. It features the return of the best bout machine, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. I don't know what his intentions are. I'm sure that he's going to try to fix mistakes took place. And there are those that believe he'll probably go to war against Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. That's something we will see how things will progress. But as for other events, I haven't decided. Now, I think I'm already officially done with the events of 2024. Now we can focus on the ones that started 2025. So let's do that for now on moving forward. Now, they haven't uploaded yet the Wrestle, Matty Gold's recent event on the 3rd. I'm hoping to see it. I really want to review this for all of you guys, but we'll see how things will go. But for now, we'll leave things as it is. But as I said, AEW Dynamite, top priority. But we'll see what happens for the rest. But for now, I'll say this, and I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.